Okay, look down. Not literally right now, but next time you're walking through any big city. See that bird, the gray one, bobbing its head, waddling around like it owns the sidewalk? You probably think it's trash, a nuisance, a rat with wings. Here's the thing nobody tells you. That exact bird kept humans alive for 10,000 years. I'm serious. Kings ate it. Pharaohs farmed it. Soldiers wore it like a medal of honor. And today, people literally cross the street to avoid it. So what changed? Because the bird sure didn't. Let me show you one of the strangest stories in human history. And by the end, you're going to look at that pigeon completely differently. I promise. Let's start with a number that broke my brain. There are around 400 million pigeons on Earth right now. 400 million. That's more than the entire population of the United States. And they're everywhere. New York, London, Paris, Mumbai, Tokyo. Doesn't matter. They breed all year. They never stop. And they thrive in places that would kill a normal farm bird. Now, here's the kicker. One adult pigeon gives you about the same amount of meat as a chicken breast. It's packed with iron, loaded with protein, lower in fat than dark meat chicken, and it costs you nothing. No farm, no feed, no factory, no refrigerated truck. The bird is just standing there. So we've got the most available free-range protein on the planet, and almost nobody in America will touch it. That's not an accident. Somebody, somewhere, changed the story. Let's find out who. Rewind. Way back. Like 6,000 years back. The pigeon started as a wild cliff bird. It nested on rocky ledges by the sea. And it had one superpower. It always came home. Same spot every single night. Like clockwork. Then humans started building cities out of stone and mud. And guess what those buildings looked like to a pigeon? Cliffs. Perfect, cozy, man-made cliffs. So the birds moved in, uninvited, and we looked at them and thought, free food. The ancient Egyptians took it to another level. They built giant towers, some as tall as a 5-story building, packed with thousands of nesting spots. One tower could hold 5,000 breeding pairs. 5,000. And it wasn't just about the meat. Pigeon droppings were basically gold, one of the best fertilizers in the ancient world. So the pigeons ate the grain, their poop grew more grain, and their babies fed the farmers. A perfect little loop. Sustainable farming, 4,000 years before that was even a word. And here's the wild part. Egypt still eats it today. Stuffed pigeon is a national dish, served at weddings, with pride. The Romans loved pigeons too. Of course they did. They built massive breeding houses and wrote actual manuals on how to fatten them up for rich people's dinner tables. Then medieval Europe made it even weirder. Owning a pigeon house, that was a rich people privilege, by law. Only lords and the church could keep them. And the birds ate the peasants' grain. Grain the peasants weren't allowed to protect. Basically a flying tax on poor people. So when the French Revolution kicked off, angry peasants didn't just burn castles, they tore down the pigeon towers. But, and this is my favorite detail, they didn't stop eating pigeon. They just wanted their own birds. They wanted in. Oh, and one more thing. You know Charles Darwin, the evolution guy? He was obsessed with pigeons, like seriously obsessed. He bred them, dissected them, joined pigeon clubs. Why? Because pigeons proved his whole idea. All these crazy different fancy breeds, fantails, tumblers, powders, every single one came from that same wild cliff bird. If humans could do that in a few centuries, imagine what nature could do over millions of years. The pigeon didn't just illustrate his theory, it basically built it. Now, stay with me, because here's where it flips. In the 1800s and both world wars, pigeons became war heroes, real ones. When Paris was surrounded and all the phone lines were cut, Pigeons flew secret messages through enemy fire. Over 1 million letters. Some got shot down. The ones that made it, national legends. There was one pigeon in World War I, flew a message to save a trapped battalion, even after getting shot through the chest and losing a leg. It got a medal from France. It's still in a museum today. And that changed everything. Because once you call a bird brave, once it's a hero, you can't eat a hero, right? Feels wrong. Feels like betrayal. So the same instinct that made pigeons useful, always flying home, got turned into a story about loyalty and sacrifice. And slowly, quietly, the bird stopped being food. Then the cities took over. When millions of people crammed into industrial cities, lost and escaped pigeons started breeding in the streets. And that bird on your sidewalk, it's not wild. It's an abandoned pet, basically, a stray. Just like a feral cat, except nobody feels sorry for it. And then came 4 little words that finished the job. Rats with wings. One phrase, it stuck. And 10,000 years of history just vanished. Now, the first thing people say when I bring this up is, but pigeons carry disease. Okay, let's actually look at that, because it's not what you think. Yeah, pigeons can carry some nasty stuff, mostly in dried up droppings, in closed spaces like an old attic. If you're cleaning that out without a mask, sure, be careful, that's real. But here's the part that changes everything. None of that spreads through eating the meat. None of it. Those germs go through your lungs, not your stomach. Cook a pigeon properly, same temperature you cook chicken, and the risk is basically zero. Now, let's talk about the chicken in your fridge. Studies found salmonella in about 1 out of every 4 packs of raw chicken in American stores. 1 in 4. And another nasty bug? Even higher. Factory chickens live standing in their own waste, pumped full of antibiotics just to survive the conditions. And we bring that home and feed it to our kids without blinking. So let me get this straight. We're scared of a wild bird, but totally fine with a factory bird that's statistically more likely to make us sick? The fear isn't about science. It never was. So if it's not disease, what actually killed the pigeon? 2 words: cheap chicken. Rewind to the 1920s. Chicken was a luxury. A whole roasted chicken was a special Sunday thing. A chicken in every pot was literally a campaign promise because most people couldn't afford one. Then big companies figured out how to control everything. The eggs, the feed, the farms, the slaughter, all of it. And they bred birds to grow insanely fast. Today, a chicken goes from egg to your plate in about 6 weeks. 6 weeks! The price crashed. Chicken went from luxury to the cheapest meat in America. Cheaper than beef, cheaper than pork. And pigeons just couldn't compete. A pigeon has 2 babies at a time. A chicken operation pumps out hundreds. The math was brutal. So all the pigeon farms, the recipes, the know-how, it all disappeared. Within 2 generations, we forgot how to raise them, how to cook them, everything. And then a culture that had eaten them for thousands of years suddenly decided they were disgusting. And honestly, this isn't even the first time we've done this. Ever heard of lobster? Yeah, that fancy $40 lobster. Back in colonial New England, lobster was so common it was considered poor people food. Prison food, actually. Servants had it written in their contracts that they couldn't be fed lobster more than a few times a week. It was that low class. Then the supply dropped, prices went up, and suddenly, luxury. The lobster didn't change, the story did. Same thing with oysters in New York. Once sold on the street for pennies. Now, a fancy appetizer. It's always the same pattern. When something's rare, it's a delicacy. When it's everywhere and cheap and tied to poor people, it becomes trash. And sometimes it stops being food altogether. The pigeon? It's still waiting for its comeback. Here's what really gets me, though. This whole pigeons are gross thing, it's basically an American and British problem. The rest of the world never got the memo. In Egypt, stuffed pigeon is a celebration dish. Weddings, family dinners, the works. In Morocco, there's this incredible pastry called bastia, pigeon slow cooked with almonds and cinnamon, wrapped in flaky layers dusted with sugar. It's served to royalty. Tell a Moroccan chef the bird is dirty, and they just laugh at you. In southern China, roasted pigeon is a normal, everyday dish. Crispy skin, deep flavor, cheaper than duck. Nothing weird about it. And in France, squab, that's young pigeon, never left the fancy restaurants. Michelin-star chefs still serve it. One plate can run you $50-$60. See the pattern? Everywhere the tradition survived, people still eat it happily. Only where the chain got broken did the disgust show up. The bird didn't become gross. We just forgot. And now, slowly, some people are waking up to how crazy this all is. Cities spend millions every year fighting pigeons. Spikes, nets, chemicals, pest control. New York alone drops around $5 million a year on it. $5 million to fight a bird that literally feeds itself on our garbage. Meanwhile, we spend billions raising factory chickens that pollute, need antibiotics, and make us sick more often. Read that back. It's absurd. There's even a small movement now. People raising meat pigeons on rooftops. Not the park birds, special big breeds. They're quiet, they're clean, they need way less space than chickens, no hormones, no antibiotics. And they're basically the same healthy animal they were 5,000 years ago. Now, I'm not saying go grab a pigeon off the street and cook it. Please don't. City birds eat all kinds of toxic junk. That's a real problem. But the animal itself? It's a proven 10,000-year-old food source. Nutritious, cheap, everywhere. The only thing stopping us is a story. And that's what really sticks with me. The bird never changed. Not its body, not its meat, not one thing about it. It's the exact same animal that fed pharaohs, that Roman senators fattened up, that carried messages through gunfire and came home a hero. The only thing that changed was the story we told ourselves. And that story rewrote 10,000 years of history in a single generation. That fast. So here's the question I can't shake. If we threw away something this useful, this proven, just because the story changed, what else have we thrown away? What other perfectly good things are we ignoring right now, just because somebody told us to, and we never bothered to check if it was true? That pigeon on the ledge isn't the dumb one in this story. Think about that. And I'll see you in the next one.